they change resistant? Or worse yet, are they change afraid? So for those of you that are out there on the dating scene, and probably some other ones too, you already know the difference. A beige flag is something that, say you're dating someone, and you kind of look at them and you go, I don't know about this, but it's not a deal breaker. That's a beige flag. It's something that maybe you don't love, but it isn't something that's like, nope, don't go forward. A red flag, as we all know, is something that says, do not go there, run, don't walk. And what I want to look at are some of the beige flags and red flags that can exist in leadership, because there's a lot. It's not a dating relationship, but it is a relationship. We talk about change management a lot, just because that's kind of my background. But also, we live in a world of constant change. I mean, especially with the speed of technology, it's not going to stop. We're always coming up with more and new and interesting things. Not all of them are better. Not all of them are greater. But the change is happening. So if you have someone that has a little bit of change fatigue, right? They've just dealt with too much change, especially after the pandemic. We were all dealing with that. They're kind of like, I just can't do anymore. Or they're a little change resistant. I mean, sometimes when we have to do a lot of change fast and stuff happens over and over, people start to get tired and a little bit lazy. And it's understandable because change takes brain power. Our brains have to put all those calories into all the work we're doing, which we talked about last time. So a little bit of change resistance is actually natural. And in the change management circles, it's expected that there may be some change resistance. The problem is when someone is so afraid of change that they will not make a decision. They will not make a change, even if it's for the better of the organization, even if it's for the better of their customers or themselves. They're just like, no way. And this comes back again to this is how we do it because this is how we've always done it. That phrase comes up a lot and can be a red flag in itself because it's kind of indicative of so many underlying problems. But if you hear that red flag too many times, it means this is a place that is not open to innovation, and it is not open to creativity, and it is not open to change. Some people have decided that they want to just be in those organizations because they can do the same thing over and over. But those organizations as a whole will tend to stagnate and die. So if you see that flag, it's a red flag, and it's time where you'll have to decide, is this where I want to be? Because this isn't going to change, and it's not going to get better. Here's one I see a lot. Are analytics taken religiously at face value, etched in stone? Or are they questioned thoughtfully? Most of you know that I kind of dig statistics. I like the metrics, and I think it's kind of neat, especially with the massive amounts of data that we're able to use now that we couldn't even do maybe 10 years ago. It's just really kind of cool. But any statistic, even though it's a number and it's supposed to be unbiased, begins and ends with humans. Even if it's in deciding which data to use, even if it's deciding which data to leave out, even if it's deciding how to put it together or how to present it. There's humans that are involved in this. So no data is completely infallible. It's just not. You have to know where it came from and who's been handling it, how it's been put together, how it's been changed, how it's been adjusted, how it's evolved. Who was your sample group? Why were they chosen? How were they chosen? There's a lot of questions that go into this. So if you have someone that's looking at the data and they're kind of like, it's data. It's right. This is data. This is what's on my dashboard. This has got to be correct. Even though these numbers don't look good, even though these numbers maybe look fantastic, even though this is what the board does or doesn't want to see, you have to know where the data came from and which humans were involved. You can't take them as this is it. It is absolutely true. I have seen leaders, though, that do that. Well, the data says this. Okay, but what about everything that goes into the data? Well, I don't know, but this is right. That's another one. They actually have an ignorance of where the data came from. And when I say ignorance, I mean a lack of knowledge in the academic sense. I'm not like, there's kind of a slanderous tone to the word ignorant. And really, it just means that I don't know. I'm ignorant to that. I don't have the knowledge. And that's what I'm talking about. They don't have the knowledge of where it came from. And they're either too busy or too overwhelmed or too something to find out. But that information is gold, understanding where it came from and why. So the ignorance of where the data is or how it got there, that's a red flag because it means all this data is coming through and some of it could be more arbitrary than we like to think. So understanding whether this person takes their data with a grain of salt or they're going to stick to it unwaveringly no matter what.